It's a physical therapy approach to fitness. All I want you to know and to remember is that, yes, you can. Okay, to get started, everybody should have an informational packet. Within there, it'll have a bio to explain some of the basics as to my education and formal education and what I've done in the way of life experience. Additionally, there's a couple articles that have been previously published that I'll refer to so that with all of the information you're hearing tonight, then you'll remember once you look at those articles, and I'll refer to them. Because it is helpful to understand that this is just common sense approach, a physical therapy approach to fitness, rather than just focusing on how many calories you burned and how thin you are or how tight and toned. It's about wellness, and when you treat the inside right, the outside reacts. And so it's just a little bit different, and once you get the concept and the understanding of T-Tapp techniques, you will be amazed at how much easier it is to maintain weight management and weight loss, but have the energy and vitality far younger than your chronological years. Yes, you can with T-Tapp. That's the title of the seminar, but it is the message. Yes, you can. It's never too early or too late to get fit. Okay, how it all started. When I was a young girl, my mother, she was the head nurse of an emergency room. So I've been around a hospital environment where people usually start thinking about wellness and fitness once you lose it. Isn't that kind of sad, the way it is in America? We don't really think about it till we lose it. But my mom always told me that through every negative situation, there's always a positive. And because she was head of the burn victims unit. And so as a young girl, I learned to look past what somebody's outside was, because if you've ever seen people who've been severely burned, that disfigurement makes it very difficult for adults to look at, but don't you notice how children have no problem with people with disfigurement or disabilities because they see the inside. And so I think I was very fortunate to be around that environment, but unfortunately, my mother then ended up getting cancer. And she went through 2 years of chemo and radiation and had 4 operations on the brain. The tumors kept reappearing. So I didn't understand everything because I was only 5 years old, and she finally died at age 29, and I was 6 years old. But while she went through that chemo and radiation, I'm 47. I like to get, now I'm starting to count the years back. But at 47 years young, I went through the generation nobody thought about what vitamins or what we were eating or how much sleep we needed. Everything was like drugs. Nobody really understood, but I knew as a little girl, whatever mom was putting in her mouth, her hair would fall out, sores were on the skin, and I really became the designated driver through all my teenage years, even before that term was coined, because I knew what you put on the inside affected the outside because I saw it. And so as she was going through all that treatment, she really stressed there's always a positive to a negative, and she says, go figure why I lose my hair, my eyebrows, my eyelashes, but the hair on the legs still grows. That's the way chemo works. So she said the positive is she could be a blonde, and I remember that blonde wig that flipped, and that girl was popular at the time. So I have taught that message to people throughout my life because it has helped me through my challenges. And really, that's what created T-Tapp. My own health challenges. First of all, I wanted to save the world. When you lose a parent at a young age, and I didn't want anybody else to have cancer, I was going to be the doctor to save and go into cancer research. But when I was a senior in high school, I ended up hurting my back. In your info pack, you have a copy of the article called, where you can see how to alleviate back pain. Now take a look at my spine. People say, well, how can you talk about fitness? You don't know what it's like to be heavy. Because I was never 200 pounds. I've never been severely out of shape. I've been several sizes bigger. We go through those waves, and I figure, who cares what the size is if you're tight and toned and everything's in the right place? It's not about how small you get. But when you see that, when I was in a high school gym class, we're not talking high-end gymnastics here, I was doing a backward somersault on a balance beam. Well, I'm born with scoliosis. Most people are. That's the curvature of the spine. And my left leg is a ½ inch shorter than my right. Well, at least my sister, hers is a ½ inch more, like a full 1.25 inches on her left leg. It's genetic. We're all within. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that if you're supposed to do a backward somersault on a straight beam and you have a curve in your back, you're not going to stay on it. So what happened is I slid off, and during the PE class, remember those classes back then when we had to wear little gym suits that snapped up the front, rolled up the legs, gym socks, and nobody wanted to be in PE because we might sweat and ruin our perfectly split down the hair middle hair. But at any rate, so we were always looking for an excuse to get out of PE. But when I slid off, they didn't realize that I had chipped part of my vertebrae. You know how your spine has the little vertebrae in this? But do you remember how we used to have school back then? If you fell off a piece of equipment, what would they make us do? Get back on so you wouldn't be afraid. Today's world would mean rush the student for an MRI or x-rays for fear of liability and lawsuit. But yesteryear, back in the early 70s, the second time I went on and did the backward somersault with broken bone fragment, now we're talking broken bones, cutting into muscle tissue, etc. All I know is excruciating pain, but the thoughts of a teenager that you can only have was, I'm going to get out of PE for at least 2 weeks. Now, my father, being that he was very busy working at Caterpillar, I really didn't get to any doctor. Nobody really thought it was just swollen and just bed rest. That's basically what they looked at back pain. So what you see in that photo as a full lump is I have fusion of my lower 3 vertebrae, 4, 5, and 6. And so I have a big knot. So add to the scoliosis. Pain is your very best teacher, that if I don't keep proper spinal alignment, it hurts. And so tonight, that's why in this seminar I'm going to teach a little movement that will immediately alleviate sciatica pain. And the whole focus on T-Tapp is on the core. Haven't we heard that word a lot lately? I've been talking about core fitness for over 20 years because that's what started T-Tapp. Because pain will tell you what works and what doesn't. And so I went ahead and went into school to try to be that doctor to save the world. But the positive of my negative situation with now having back pain is that I had the understanding at a very young age what back pain was all about. Most people don't know about back pain until you have an automobile accident or until later years when you start to have atrophy, correct? So here I am in my kinesiology classes blowing away my professors. They're like, where are you coming up with these moves? And through my whole life I've been guided, because when you pray for your mom to live, you learn to listen to the voice. And through my life, I've been given so much information that all I had to do is get the formal studies to understand why. And as a teacher and educator, that's why in T-Tapp, the workout, I teach you the how and why of every single move so you understand the best machine you could ever use, your body. That's all it is. I have not done weights in 25 years, and I'd say I'm pretty fit and firm with some muscle. You can build bone density without weights. Yes, you can with T-Tapp, and I'm going to teach you how tonight. So from the spinal alignment, as I was going through kinesiology, then my next positive out of a negative experience came about. At 19, and you have to realize I was in the cancer group, so I was working with edema patients. If you're familiar with people who go through chemo or radiation or removal of lymph nodes, you swell up because you interrupt the way the lymph system works. When I wake up one morning with a lump in my right armpit the size of an egg, and if you can see, depending on where you're at, you'll see it's about the size of a marble now. Okay? Now, when I was in pre-med at Charleston, it was Eastern Illinois University, no one really talked about the lymphatic system. It wasn't even known. It was called the circulatory system. It wasn't even known as the immune system. This was back in the late 70s, and medical science is an ongoing evolution. That's why we can't just push things out there so quick. We have to do clinical trials. And then go figure, at the same time, they used to say put butter on burns. Remember that? Then again, we were suntanning outside with, iodine in it so we'd get red faster. We didn't know about sunscreen. We didn't know about sugar. We didn't know about carbs, good carbs, bad carbs, complex, simple. Really, a lot has happened since then. Nobody took vitamins or knew the need of it. But at any rate, I wake up with this swollen lymph node, and half of my professors said, you have to cut it out. Remember, we used to always have our tonsils out by age 5. Never asked. Now we realize that the tonsils have a function. No matter how small within your body, there's a purpose for every organ. There's a purpose for every movement. It's not just about calorie burning. It's not calories in and calories out. There's a purpose. And in T-Tapp, there is a reason for every move, sequentially why I'm doing it in that certain order, and also why you're moving in all of the linear alignment. So at any rate, I ended up being the studies, because half the people said that I would be, the doctors said that I would be dead by 33, because I'm genetically linked to an aggressive cancer. Okay? The other half said, wow, what a great opportunity to trial and error and see what affects it and what doesn't, because the same exercises I was helping the ladies going through chemo and radiation to lessen their edema would make the armpit lump go away. And all of a sudden they would realize, see, when I was in school, and I'm sure you too, and it's nice because I met some other people here tonight who are from the Illinois area and universities, but nobody knew about sleep being important. We didn't know sleep was important even through the 1980s, correct? But it was amazing that when I would get 8 hours sleep, but in university you usually go all night cramming for an exam, or there's like the parties and the keggers, and then sleep you'll catch up on another day. But when I would sleep, it would diminish. Now, I love sugar. I've been borderline type 2 diabetic because of my heritage for 8 years. So I have to think what I'm eating and what I'm doing. But back then, nobody thought about sugar. But when I would abstain from sugar and alcohol, which in the medical division meant Everclear, because that's what we could afford because it was in the thing. You know, Hawaiian Punch and Everclear worked just fine. But whenever I would intake alcohol, it would swell up, and sugar would affect it. And within the certain movements, so then it was like they could see that for some reason this whole system that mirrors your blood system, your circulatory system, is your lymphatic system. Key component of T-Tapp. Everything is centered on the core, your spine, and the function of your lymphatic system. It wasn't called that back then, but now it's starting to get popular about the lymph. Haven't we heard about using the trampoline? But you know what? Walking is the best exercise, not for calorie burning, for the lymph system. Every time you walk, you pump the lymph. You have a heart to pump the blood, but you have nothing to pump your lymph. Don't you notice as you get older, things fall south? Okay, don't you notice as soon as you hit about 24, 25, you start having swelling in the fingers? Ankles start to swell by the end of the day? It's the lymph going out to the ends and not having anything to pump it back up. And then all of a sudden that means toxins and impurities are settling in tissue, which then things start to break down. So the focus of T-Tapp is to work on the primary body systems of neurokinetic flow, think of the term, neuro from the brain to kinetic the muscles, because you're opening the spine with better alignment. And if you have a better transmission, your muscles can move and burn glucose and burn fat better. Now think about it. Haven't you ever had the opportunity with a young brother or a young sister while you're watering the plants with a hose and they're back there and they kink it? The water still comes out, but it trickles, correct? And all you have to do is unkink the hose and the water pressure. Well, how many of us stand like this, cross our legs, hold a phone, do multitasking, look around, and we wonder why we're all kinked up by the end of the day? So if your spine is out of alignment, the transmission from the brain through the spinal cord to your extremities is not giving full nerve transmission. Make common sense? So what do we do in America? We take thermogenics and ephedra, which is now banned, but we would just increase the stimulus, increase the heart rate, when all you have to do is unkink the flow. So that was to the first move, primary back stretch, which is how I start my basic 15-minute workout and my 45-minute workout. That is the 3-minute move that I do every morning just to put my spine in alignment so I don't hurt. And for those who already have herniated discs or spinal stenosis, they'll do it right before bedtime. But isn't it ironic that that same move I tested at the Cooper Aerobic Institute and substantiated in the year 2000 under the direction of PhD exercise physiologists, that normally you have to work out 20 minutes to get into fat burning, but within T-Tapp it's only 10 minutes. You unkink the hose. Get the nerve transmission there, because involuntary muscle movement, which is what you do to breathe, you don't have to think, okay, inhale, exhale. No, it's involuntary. Okay, and the same thing to stand up against gravity is involuntary muscle movement uses glucose for fuel. Muscle movement prefers fat for fuel. But if you have too much glucose or sugar in your system, you know, your body's real smart. It starts telling your body, like, don't worry, he or she's going to sit down, or he's going to give up. So just give the glucose, don't use the fat. And so you end up never using the fat that you store on your body, and then you start to atrophy as you age. I did my master's thesis on metabolisms over the age of 30 on the female body. I figured I might as well study something I could use when I got older. Back then, everybody talked about basic metabolic rate, your base metabolic rate. Okay, everybody knows that the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest, which is why it's unfair that men, since they have more muscle mass on their body at an average of 15%, automatically burn more calories at rest than women, which is why they can lose weight quicker in the beginning whenever they decide to get in shape. Okay, now add to that with the women, we have a thing called hormonal fluctuations, which ties into glucose. Now, a lot of us have learned this in the last 5-10 years, but I was talking it 15 years ago, and this is part of T-Tapp because I focus on the core. The muscle attachments to the spine, I want to develop equally so that you have spinal density. T-Tapp doesn't build muscle bulk, it builds muscle density. I designed the workout to create muscles like girdles, so that everything can be cinched in, uplifted, tightened, and toned. When people say, what is T-Tapp, they usually say the following, and we have it on the back of t-shirts. T-Tapp is comprehensive, compound muscle movement done in a specific sequence to fatigue the body layer by layer from the inside out to improve neurokinetic flow and lymphatic function. Okay, sounds real fancy, like I'm trying to impress you, right? Okay, so let's just break it down. Comprehensive compound muscle movement. Most exercise is isotonic, okay, which means one muscle attachment to the belly of the muscle. And so now it's going to get fun because you're going to start to feel what I'm talking about. So even those who are watching us at home can get up off the couch and feel what I'm talking about. So everybody stand up here. And those at home, stand up from your couch. Okay, we all know about a bicep curl, right? Hold one hand out to the side. Now, when I say isometric, that means you tighten all of your muscles. So we're going to make it apples to apples, so I want you to tighten. Now, we're going to do the bicep curl, keeping the muscles tight using isometric contraction. So tight, tight, tight as you curl in, tight, tight, tight as you uncurl. Do you feel it in the middle of the bicep? And you feel it in the elbow. Tight, 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 curl in. Tight, 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 curl out. Okay, that's isotonic movement, and most people have a weight in their hand. And so what are they trying to do? To firm the bicep and get that little bulge in the middle, right? So you shorten the muscle fiber from the belly of the muscle in the middle. Now let's do the same move, but do it the T-Tapp way. Elbow up. Okay, adjust so you don't hit your neighbor. Linear alignment is a principle for T-Tapp, which means the elbow to the shoulder stays level. Linear alignment, which means you are behind the ear. Feel how that just opened up your pec area and your lymph. Now, same thing. Tighten, keep it tight. Tight, tight, tight as you uncurl. Tight, tight, tight as you curl in. Don't drop that elbow. Tight, tight, tight. Do you feel the difference already? Think, you feel it in the elbow and the shoulder. But in addition to the bicep, can you feel the tricep underneath? Think again. Don't you feel the deltoid shoulder? And think again. Don't you feel the lat, the latissimus? And don't you feel the trap, the trapezius? 5 muscles, full fiber from the shoulder to the elbow instead of 1 from the elbow to the belly. So if you're working 5 muscles, that means that is the compound, more than 1 muscle. Comprehensive means you're using both muscle attachments. So you're working smarter, not harder, and you only have to do 8 reps. In T-Tapp, you never do more than 8 repetitions ever. And the stronger you get, the more you get out of it, the less you have to do. Now, isn't that a new concept? Because usually the stronger you get, the more reps you do, and you add more weight. But then I figured there comes a point of no return. How many reps and sets can you do? And as we get older, we have less time and more fat. So it's a kind of a catch-22 right there. Go ahead and have a seat. So comprehensive compound muscle movement done in a specific sequence to fatigue muscles layer by layer from the inside out. Okay? Now the way the body works is the stronger muscles are always what you're going to use before your body decides to use what they call the intrinsic muscles, the little ones on the inside, because the body always looks for the path of least resistance. It's smart. So what I'm going to do in T-Tapp, if you decide to get the workout videos, is that I'm going to make your big muscles tired so that we force those little ones to kick in, And I'm always using 5 to 7 muscles at the same time, from start to finish. I will not leave one muscle undone. And you're going to hear me say, tuck butt in your sleep for the rest of your life. So, the sequence is important. That's why on the DVDs, I do not allow them to be chaptered individual move. I chapter it from instruction from the workout, but on the DVD, it's gotten to the point everybody just loves to, well, I'll just do this one, and I'll do that one, and I'll do this one, because those are my favorite ones. There's a reason for the sequence, and you can cut out in between, but they still have to be done in that sequence, both for the physical therapy benefit, because it's preventative wellness fitness. Full fiber activation protects the bones and joints. T-Tapp works regardless of age, regardless of fitness level, pre or post surgery. So it's safe for everyone because remember, I focus from the spine and I totally have been working as a rehabilitative fitness specialist for the last 15 years. But the great thing is it's always better to prevent, isn't it? And with this workout, it uses balanced muscle development. So much weight training, and I'm not saying to replace weight training, even though I haven't done weight training in 25 years. It's the techniques you learn from T-Tapp that you can apply when you're using weights to make it more effective. See, it's not just T-Tapp the workout, it's the techniques to maximize muscle movement. So you maximize the benefits with minimal time and minimal movement. You're never jumping. There's no music, it's a straightforward, no-nonsense approach, and there's no Barbie dolls with cute little ponytails. I'm sorry you have to watch the Core commercial for the twins. They're not on my videos. But it really will make sense, and you will find out that less is more. Okay, I just said earlier, you never have to use more than 8 reps. And so at Cooper Institute, we used it with different levels of fitness, and the same workout challenged a triathlete, an aerobics instructor that does step aerobics, high-end aerobics 3 times a week, a person who is pregnant, a person who had a hole in the heart, very out of shape, and myself, and another person of just general fitness. It challenged everyone. And I'm going to be teaching one little 3-minute move called Hoedowns in this seminar tonight, which was featured in Prevention Magazine in July of 2003, a 3-minute move that regardless of fitness level, including marathoners, are going at the end of 3 minutes. Yet you never lift your hand above your head. So that's why I'm working to sustain with the sit-down T-Tapp version. We're working towards a clinical study for JAMA with the cardiologist right here in St. Petersburg, Dr. Mike McIver, so that we can show people with stage 3A and 3B heart failure yes, you can rebuild the heart. Because I want to show and give the hope that it's never too late. Can you imagine those individuals today are told, don't exercise? Well, if you get to stage 4, they give you a year to live. I mean, that's kind of a sad thing. So, and the thing is with the workout, even though it's 15 minutes and 45, you can split up 3-minute movements throughout the day. So, let's come back up and learn another movement. Shoulder rolls. I told you tonight that I would teach you a move that would get rid of back fat throughout the day, and everyone has heard about shoulder rolls. But there's a big difference when you do it the T-Tapp way. So I want you to get kinetically aware of what's going on in your frame. So right now I want everybody but just toes forward. This is linear alignment again. Bend the knees, tuck the butt, just that's a little tuck like the doggy puts the tail between the legs. Okay, so everyone think about what's happening in your shoulders as you do 4 shoulder rolls backwards. Shoulder roll up and back, 2 and back. We should do shoulder rolls to get rid of tension throughout the day, because if you notice, we tend to go by the end of the day. So now let's just do it the T-Tapp way so you feel the difference. Flip palms to me. Stretch the fingers for neurokinetic flow so we increase the nerve transmission to the fingertips. Now keep those knees softly bent so you protect your back, and I want you to get those fingers stretched and thumb back as far as you can. As far as you can. Made you stand straighter already, didn't I? Now, your thumbs are in. There, out, 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 there. Now, same movement, keep the thumbs back as far as you can, up and back. Crack and crunch. Feel the difference? Do it once more. Big shoulder roll and lock those lats. Now, do you feel every muscle activated in your mid back up to your neck? A lot more muscles got moved than the first time around, didn't it? Now keep those hands, I want this neurokinetic tingle. Keep them there. Keep those fingers back. So from here, when you use the muscles that attach to that mid back up to the neck, what do muscles do? Burn fat for fuel. If you once expense all of the glucose and you do 4 shoulder rolls 4 times a day, you're going to literally burn the back fat at the base of the neck, that little Dowers hump that starts to happen. And notice that your shoulders are more square because they're back, so you don't have to wear all those shoulder pads that become slopey shoulders as we get older. Now, from here, the only thing is, how many of us walk around high, right? So I was over in the fashion world teaching models and keeping them fit. That was part of my studies, and they were forever slouching. So I want you to do one more shoulder roll, lock those lats, relax your feet wherever you want, and I'm going to walk you through how to sneak it in. Keep those muscles tight in the upper back. Don't move the shoulders. Palms face center of the body. Don't move those shoulders. Keep them tight, tight, tight. I know we all look a little stiff here. I'm going to walk you through. Tighten those shoulders. Shake the arms, but don't move the shoulders. Work out the tension in the arms. Okay, let your little finger touch the outside of that thigh so you know where it is. So you have a V that's facing the front. Holding it there. Now let your elbows come away so you look a little more normal and relaxed. And as you're standing, doesn't it look a little bit better? And nobody knows you're using all those muscles in the back, but let your hands go ahead and relax how you normally stand. What you just feel in your upper back. When you inactivate muscle, that's where you store fat. So the more I see slopey shoulders and that upper curve that starts to happen as we age, it's because they're all walking with their hands facing back. Right? Now think how much you're walking and you're swinging. So now let's put it into practicality. In addition to doing 4 shoulder rolls 4 times a day, think about getting the shoulders rolled back. That's all you're doing. Rotator cuff comes about in frozen shoulders from shoulders rolled in. Inactivate all that lymph, your chest. You want to promote healthy breast tissue, ladies? Shoulders back, open and let it drain. And on the side effect is you get perkier pecs. Not bad. Whether you're male or female, that becomes an issue in later years. So now think about when you're grocery shopping. How do we push a grocery cart? Everybody push your cart, even those at home. Feel what's happening in the shoulder? And the heavier the cart gets, the more you activate the shoulder rolled in. When all we have to do is go like this and push the cart. Feel what's happening in the upper back? No more bra pudge. No more bra lines. Perkier pecs for the guy. See what I'm saying? You think about where the shoulder, because the shoulder back activates all the way to the center of the spine. Okay, so let's just say you got a little back fat. I'll show you how you get rid of that. Palms out. Toes are forward. Soften those knees. Now we get adjust so we don't hit our neighbor. Okay, but I want your hands level with the shoulders. Palms up to the ceiling. Palms up to the ceiling. Now, thumbs back. Keep the butt tucked, protect the back. Now reach away. That means, I'll give you a side view, you reach out. Not back like the Titanic, reach out. From here, you keep those knees softly bent, toes are forward, tuck that tail between the legs, tuck butt, and now it's just a little up and down motion. So let's feel what happens. Keep those elbows stiff and straight. Little bounce. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Reach away. Bend knees, tuck butt, shoulders back. Now half. Half reach out. 2, keep those elbows straight. 3, keep that butt tucked. Keep those knees bent. Again, 5 and out. 6, reach out. 7, aren't you glad there's no more than 8? Hold it there. Bend more, tuck more, shoulders back, full. Reach out. Thumbs are back and out. Woo, 2 and out. 3, keep those thumbs back. 4, yes you can, don't stop. 5, yes you can. 6, I see everybody. 7, even at home. 8 and out. Now relax. Do you feel the heat? And all you did was 8 little reps. Go ahead and have a seat so you can take a sip of water. See how less can be more? Only 8 reps, yet you could feel and think about what we were doing. It's the combination of linear alignment, isometric, movement lymphatically pumping at the same time you're doing large muscle movement, you're doing full fiber and lymphatically pumping. And when you put those 3 factors together, you increase CO2 output. Didn't your heart rate go up? Yet your hands were never above your head. So it's safe for people with heart disease or who are trying to condition their heart. And what's great about it is the stronger you get, the more you get out of it without ever having to lift weights. I created this move for people with rotator cuff and frozen shoulder situations. Every single move I have in the workout has a physical therapy benefit, which will also tighten and tone for a cosmetic benefit. But I saw some people's thumbs here and one back, then I knew this was the one that had a shoulder situation. I saw people that were quivering and I knew they're going to their max. When you do T-Tapp, you go to your own personal max. All of a sudden, you can get more balanced, and back. So the stronger you get, it takes muscles and flexibility, strength and flexibility to do this all the way. Some of you were here and but that's all you could do because of the strength and flexibility. So do you see how the stronger you get, the more you get out of it? You don't have to add more weights or more reps. No, you just go to your own max ability, and T-Tapp will continue to challenge you. And so the way I designed the workout is to do boot camp, which is 4 days in a row. Day 1, you go, oh, this is not too bad. Day 2, you start calling me, Day 3, you're definitely calling me names. That's why it's an at-home fitness program, because you can stop. And then all of a sudden, day 4, it's so much easier. You break through a physiological plateau if you do 4 days in a row, and it's all designed, then you go every other day. You go every other day for 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how many clothing sizes you're focusing on. I never focus on weight with T-Tapp. It's always inch loss that I focus on. You measure once a week. Forget about the scale, because most T-Tappers weigh 10 pounds more than they look, because there's a lot of internal muscle. Basically, I'm 5'7". I like to say 5'8", but my fiance reminds me I'm 5'7". You know, and the thing is I usually weigh 128 to 132. Right now, I'm probably about 130. And people think I weigh less, but I have muscle in my core and be able to do it, and that's why I can eat whatever I want. And calories. I don't count calories. You don't have to. With T-Tapp, you will notice you will want to eat more because you're more hungry because you have more muscle. But you have to feed the body. That's why I don't believe in all of this, all carbs, no carbs, all protein. God created it to where we need all 3. Protein to build muscle, we need carbs for energy, we need fat for fuel. We're all going to have Alzheimer's if we keep fat free. I mean, the brain needs fat for fuel. We need corn. Corn is considered a brain food. So at any rate, what I'm wanting to focus is that T-Tapp's about muscle balance. Now, I said it's all centered on the core. I wanted to do a few arm moves so you could understand isotonic versus comprehensive compound muscle movement. With it coming, you can even focus on foot positioning. As we age, you felt how shoulders roll in, right? A lot of us walk like ducks. We stand like ducks. We walk like ducks. About age 21, 22, it's usually one more than the other, right? By the time you go through a pregnancy, it gets a little wider and stays there, or if the hips get a little wider with age, regardless of gender. And then right about 40, shoulders are slightly forward. 50s, 60s. Then we start looking like Tim Conway on Carol Burnett. Now think about what happens with all this duck positioning. The foot is out, but the knee is forward. And look how many of us have knee issues and ACL issues and arthroscopic surgery and all of that when it's so preventative. We train with our foot out. Think how many of us do leg extensions. We put those feet up on that machine and we push that weight. When all you have to do is bring the toes forward and bring the knees out. How I came up with all of this is because I needed to activate the muscles on the lower part of my spine, and I could feel the pain relief. So with the duck positioning, instead of a turnout foot when you exercise in T-Tapp, everything's linear alignment from the hip down and with toes forward. So everybody up. Where you can see, and I know how many people are duck walkers, is because you learned about the upper back. If you inactivate muscle, that's where your body stores fat, right? So if you walk like a duck and the knees go in, what do you get? Knee knocker fat. Those little pads of fat on the inside of the knee and above the knee, it's a pronated knee and you're in for injury. Okay, so with T-Tapp, your toes are forward and your hip width apart. I want you to focus on hip ball joint, not hip width. Hip ball joint, knee joint, ankle joint. Now bring those toes forward and you're going to feel a little pigeon-toed because you're used to having, but you can retract the knee and re-strengthen it. So if you're not quite sure where your hips are, I usually say put your foot on the instep, toe out, and make sure your toes are forward. Now where I want you to feel is we were all taught, those of us that are in our 40s and older, we were always taught to do exercise with a straight knee. Think about it, leg lifts, we used to do the sit-up straight knee, a lot of stuff was done straight knee. And guys were forever in the gymnasiums having to run stairs, right? And think about running stairs with the foot turned out. And we wonder why our poor guys and all the athletes have bad knees, carrying the weight. So now that you've got kinetically aware of the toes feeling pigeon-toed, I want you to feel the difference. What happens in your alignment? Everybody bend knees and keep them bent. Feel how the muscles activated going into the kneecap? Okay, now straighten the leg. Feel how the thigh relaxes? Okay, think again. Bend the knee. Feel how that kind of centers your lower back? Now straighten the knee. Feel how it kind of scoops out and tilts forward? Like a kidney bean? Okay, so with T-Tapp, knees are bent, keep them bent. And I never let you straighten them. So the first thing that's going to go away in T-Tapp is knee knocker fat within 1 week. A week to 10 days, you see a difference in knee knocker fat. Now the other thing, shoulders back. Didn't you just feel your tummy open up? The entire T-Tapp workout is done standing up. You don't do one sit-up, and most people lose a pant size within that first month, first 3 weeks. You don't have to do sit-ups to flatten your belly. You just opened up. You are all compressing it down. Let your shoulders relax. Feel how it presses down. Get that lower pooch. If you get your shoulders back, but didn't Grandma tell you that in the beginning? So see, you had to pay for it. Now you understand it. No. Okay, so keep the shoulders back, knees are bent. Now you're all bad doggies. Bad doggies do what? Tuck tail between legs. Tuck butt. Okay, so now most of you, when I said that, as soon as you tuck butt, shoulders came forward. Then you put the shoulders back, then you go back, then you retuck, and then you put that. Because weak abdominal, shoulders come forward. So keep the shoulders back, butt is tucked. Now with that butt tucked, don't you feel your lower back tighten? Okay, butt cheeks are tight, but don't you feel your tummy tighten as well? There's one last move. We're not quite ready yet. Shoulders back, knees are bent, butt is tucked. Last move, push knees out. We're riding a horse. Keep them out. Didn't you feel it tighten right here on the outer side? You feel on the inside? And we all look like we're riding that horse. So now you're already thinking, now how am I going to sneak this in throughout the day while I'm wearing high heels? Somebody said, shake out, and I'll show you how to sneak it in. Right now with your shakeout, you were only holding that 60 seconds. Can you feel the tingle? Isn't that amazing how much more circulation just went to your feet? Everyone's worried about diabetic feet. Cutting off the circulation, sores not healing. Everyone's worried about varicose veins. Circulation not happening going on through cellulite. What it is we're crossing the legs, we're rolling in, you open up the flow. And you felt the circulation that fast. And everywhere you have a nerve transmission, the blood goes, and so does the lymph. See how easy it is if you just understand how the body works as a machine. Here's how you sneak it in. Also a lesson on physiology, balance, muscle. Take the leg you normally stand on. Most of us stand on one leg, and then women are notorious for really putting the weight in there because we have a child on the hip or a bag of groceries. But whatever the leg is that you stand on, I want you to notice this is the leg that's going to have greater bone density than the other leg because it's used to holding more weight. Make sense? It's the truth. If I went around and measured this leg versus your other leg, it will be a ½ inch to a full inch bigger than the other leg because the muscles are stronger because it's holding the weight. But guess what? This will be the leg that you get the knee injury or the broken hip in later years. Now start to think why. When you look down, the knee is straight. You have your weight in it, right? My arm is just like your leg. It's 2 bones from the knee to ankle. and 1 bone from the knee to the hip. If you take your arm and you turn it in on the knee, doesn't the hip go in as well? So notice your knee is straight, isn't it, to the inside of your big toe? So that means your hip is rolled in, which means the inside of the knee is shortened, the inside of the hip is shortened, and you've overstretched the tendons on the outside, so that's where you're going to end up slipping and breaking because there's not the strength and support and on the knee, and plus you're pulling your lower lumbar out of alignment. This is the key move that blew everybody away when I was in university that basically God gave me. Feel what happens. Here's how you sneak in what we were doing, what I call KLT, knee to little toe. I want you to bend the knee just enough, sneak it, just enough that you feel the muscles activate going in your knee. Just so you feel those quads activate at the knee. Now I want you to tuck butt, not like you're a bad doggy, but tuck till you feel the tummy tighten in the lower back. Keeping the shoulders back. Feel that tummy tighten. That means you just activated the muscles on the lower back. Now with the knee, you don't think to push it out. I want you to think to twist. So you turn out and you're going to feel the arch lift inside your shoe, and you're going to feel that tightening on the outside of the hip. Feel that? Anybody here have back issues? Did you feel what just happened in with your sciatica? When you have that slight tuck and twist, you open the sciatica. So where I have the 3 vertebrae fused as one, pinching off the sciatica, when I use my hip and knee to twist, it pulls and opens it in alignment and full flow, no pain. Now, we've held this for about 30 seconds. Throughout the day, you should switch so that you end up with equal balance, bones and muscle and back. So just switch and feel the tingle, how fast that was. Amazing, isn't it, how you can increase circulation? And that also means you burned glucose. So let's try it with the other leg. You soften the knee, you tuck the butt, you twist it out. Oh, and by the way, it takes away saddlebags and burns off tummies. Can you feel where it's working? Because with T-Tapp, you can spot reduce. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So this is easy enough, and so throughout the day, you always make sure your hands are facing the center of your body. And you always think while you're standing in line, you soften, you tuck, you twist out. So at the same time you're standing in line, whether for the movie or the grocery store, you're burning glucose. So if you're borderline type 2 diabetic or you're worrying about your sugar levels, you have to tighten. And then that muscle is going to burn the glucose, and once your glucose is done, it's going to burn some fat and get rid of the knee knocker fat and get rid of those hip pads and saddlebags and tighten the tummy, and everything's all going to look tight and toned. You sneak it in. It's that easy. I just want you to realize that's why I call it functional fitness. Okay, going in with this, I want to go into another move. People worry about knees and walking, so I want you to feel how to walk. Going into this move, I just want you to lift one heel, keep one knee bent, lift one heel. Now, keep the other knee bent and the butt slightly tucked. I want you to press the heel down, but only to the last 2 toes. Press down 2, 3. Feel the arch lifted inside your shoe, right? Lift up high, press down 2, 3. I want you to get that kinetic awareness. Once more, lift up, press down 2, 3. Now, this time, I want you to lift up and let it go to the big ball joint, big toe. Press down 2, 3. Feel how that pressed your arch down, flattened the foot. Do it one more time. Lift up, press down, big toe. Now, how many of us walk pushing off our big toes? Most of us. And we do it in a duck position. Turn out that foot, same foot that you just did. Now press on the big toe. Feel how the knee just went in? So, knowing that I'm not, people are like, to try not to do duck walk, they walk like this. Okay, Teresa, I'm trying to do what you're saying. So even though you're going to try, and you might still have a little bit of a turnout, I want you to feel how much, if you just focus on walking with pushing with the last 2 toes, keeping the weight off your big toe, how you can rebuild your arches to the point a lot of people no longer wear orthotics. Yes, you can with T-Tapp. You use the muscles to pull the bones in alignment. Okay, so with it turned out, same foot. Lift heel, press down last 2 toes. Feel the arch lifted? Feel how it tracks the knee? Lift up, press down 2, 3. Now let's do a big toe. Lift up, press big toe. Feel how much more it torqued in, and how many people have ankles that shift in because you have 2 bones and you press in, you torque everything out of alignment, and you end up with foot problems. So while you walk, no big toe. Just think to, which means you're not lifting your big toes inside your shoes, okay? You'll get cramps in the big toe. Just don't put pressure on the big ball joint. You use the last 2 toes to press off. And as you walk, you're going to feel more in the stomach, so you're already going to tighten and tone the tummy and the butt automatically because you're walking with the knee in alignment, which means you're using full thigh. So even if you have bulky thighs from whatever weight training, with T-Tapp you will lean them out and get muscle density instead of bulk. Muscle imbalance is usually the cause of injury, where you make one muscle stronger than another. In T-Tapp, I told you I always use 5 to 7 at full fiber so that you increase flexibility as well as strength and have balanced muscle. Okay, for you to understand what I'm talking about, I have a lot of people that come to me where they have that shoulder or frozen shoulders and they've really overdeveloped the trap, the trapezius, this muscle right here, which makes you look slopey. You know it, it's not just women with full bosoms that end up standing like this all the time or have tension. It's the men who are doing those lat pulls. You've seen the guys that do bodybuilding and then they can't comb their hair because of the trap being so tight. And then that's what usually causes shoulder injury. Everyone wants that square shoulder, and you can rebuild that relatively quick. So I want you to understand about the linear alignment with shoulder position. So let's go through a lat pull. And when you're in a lat pull, you grab the bar when you're at the gym. So I'm going to teach you, so yeah, keep those knees soft. As you pull, you usually pull and bring the bar behind your head, chin down. Now hold that position and bring your head up. Okay, so you can feel. Now pulse there. Okay, notice the elbows back. So as you reach up, you pull. Isn't that shoulder forward? Now you're going to do it the T-Tapp way, which means everybody elbow forward. Okay, now reach up, pull, elbow forward, hand back, hold it there, pulse. Pulse. Do you feel the difference? Feel how you're pulling your lat, your latissimus, equal as the trap. So sir, with the stripe, bring your hands back. Even more, and elbows forward to me, so you feel it. And now bring the hands back, like a big W. Hand out and W. Pull. Do you feel that? This is real important for the guys. At the same time, it perks pecs, regardless of gender, but you get that V, no fat right here. You can feel it. So even when you're on the machine, you pull elbows forward. So I'll show you the next move. Everybody says you need to use weights to trim the tricep, right? So you either use the weight and you do this, or you use the soup can and you do this, or you learn to use your body weight on a chair and you hold on and you drop the whole body weight. Here's one you can do sitting at your desk in front of the computer. I created it for tennis elbow and arthritic elbow conditions. But I tell you what, it will tighten and tone your triceps greater than you've ever seen. So let's get started. Toes are forward. This is on the website for free. My website has lots of exercises for free because you can try before you buy anything. Toes are forward. Bend the knees. Tuck that butt. Shoulders back. Palms up and out. Okay. Slap that neighbor. Okay, from here, adjust because you want the thumb back. Keep that butt tucked. Shoulders back. Here comes the fun part. Elbows forward. Hands back. We're almost there. You feel every muscle activated in the back, right? And you want it level, wrist, elbow, not here. Down, 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 down. Elbow forward, hand back. Now here we go. Ready? It's push elbow forward, hand back as you curl up. Touch the top of shoulder. That's one. Uncurl, elbow forward, thumb back, that is one. Elbow forward, yes you can. Up, up, up. Keep it focused and uncurl, elbow forward, thumb back, that is two. It's up, 2, 3, touch 4. It's uncurl. Keep the butt tucked, shoulder back. It's up, 2. Keep pushing elbow forward. Touch at the top and 2. We'll only do 6. Up, 2, 3, 4. I see eyeballs really big. Last time. 2, 3, 4. Uncurl. 2, 3, 4, and rest. See how less can be more? Have a seat. Get a drink of water as I explain what you just did. Basically, that exercise indeed is working to rehabilitate tennis elbow, but you can feel how that really works the deltoid shoulder as well. So you'll notice with T-Tapp that people who are T-tapping, because even though I've worked with celebrities a lot through the life, what I didn't share earlier in my story, because people wonder when they look at the bio, how did I go from pre-med science, finish your degree as an educator, because I have a teaching degree for 9 through 12, and then off I went to Europe and was working basically through Hamburg, Germany, Milan, Italy, and Paris, and I was working with all the fashion industry to help keep the models in shape, and I was known as a new face developer. Basically, it sounds glamorous, but it just meant I lived in a different hotel in a different country with a different language with 5 to 7 teenagers with me all times. I understand hormonal imbalance. And so it was very instrumental in how I created my workout, because that's part of the reason on some of the moves to chill out, because I figured basically when you're 15 and everyone's worrying, does he love me or not, because I was with the female fashion, obviously. It happens all again when you're menopausal, except then you don't care, you just get pissed. So with it, it's like to get those hormones in check, you have to drop the glucose quick. Because when the glucose is up, the estrogen goes up, and then the carbohydrate raises the glucose, and then the estrogen, and see, you got to get that glucose down. So it's really where, through the fashion industry, then I also, because of the big names, ended up with a lot of celebrities, but my main focus is real people, real results. But you can tell who T-taps and who doesn't by that deltoid cut that you just felt. Like, for instance, Katie Couric on the Today Show. She got really fit after her husband had died from cancer. And you'll notice people who work with weights, they'll get a buff deltoid, it kind of bulges, and then another bulge. But with a T-tap, you'll always see a teardrop, almost like a dancer's muscle. Like I said, I haven't done weights in like 25 years, but you can see the muscles are cut and lean. So it's like when you do T-tap, you get long, lean fibers with that muscle density, so you don't have that buff look, but that density burns calories far greater than if you have a half fiber development. So with that, you could feel it really working on the deltoid, but couldn't you feel it also in the lat, the trap, the bicep? Again, 5 workouts. Less is more. And where, again, the stronger you are, most people were here, and they're like, yeah, right, I'm going to get here and back. But even if that's your max, you are working the muscles as they attach on the ball joint to shorten. Muscles that are short are strong. As you age, atrophy causes long, lean muscles. So when I created T-Tapp, because I was in the fashion industry, I had every shape and size of everybody, male and female. I worked with the Bundesliga, so I helped prevent groin injuries, and worked with knees with the professional soccer players, as well as I worked within the homeopathic world and the best physiologists that could ever be, because at least I could get the door open, because they were all human and they'd like to have Claudia Schiffer and Naomi Campbell come as their customer too. So I was able to get in through doors to substantiate and perfect. It took me 6 years to perfect the T-Tapp workout to where I knew 8 reps were all you need to get the Krebs cycle to work at the max at what you burn in glucose and fat before you produce the lactic acid. And throughout it, I'll take you to a peak, and then I'll bring you back down and take you to a peak, so that at the end, you will be fatigued but energized. Now, nobody understands how could that be, because you're usually fatigued and you're tired. But you talk to any T-Tapper, all of a sudden you have this tremendous energy, and it's because you're using digestion, assimilation, and elimination. That's another key factor of T-Tapp. I focus on rebuilding primary body function. I told you earlier, neurokinetic flow and lymphatic function. But the first thing, if you decide to do T-Tapp, you'll notice that you'll be buying a little bit more toilet paper in the first couple weeks. Things move. Inactivity is what allows things to store within the body, and I'm not just talking intestinally, I'm talking cellular. And your lymph system isn't just for your immune system and moving the toxins, it moves liquefied fat. So you become a turbocharged fat-burning machine, and the muscles squeeze the lymph. So it's almost like you turn back the clock, because think about what you ate when you were in your 20s. Got away with a lot of crap. Because things could be digested, assimilate the good stuff, and eliminate the bad. But as soon as you break the change anywhere, we start sounding like our parents. Oh boy, can't eat like what I used to. And then we start looking at the constipation commercials. Kaopectate. You see, but all we have to do is move, but we've become such an inactive society, but you don't have to move a lot. These little movements, You could feel butt tuck tighten as you stand anyway. You can feel those muscles working internally, right? So I do a lot of core movement within, and I do a lot of rehabilitative and in on the knees. So I'm going to be going through a couple of those moves because I want you to realize that, yes, you can. How many people have knee injuries or issues? Bad knees. Okay, good. I wanted to see how many. Everybody up, I'm going to show you how to strengthen your knees because you use T-Tapp lunges. Yes, you can. Lunges. I want you to realize it's all about KLT. It's not how low or how deep you go. First of all, you start off with a T stance, heel right on the instep. Okay? With the leg, I want you to step out only hip width. Okay? Just so you don't hit your neighbor, I want you to step out. We're going to be in all different directions. I'll walk you through it. Doesn't matter. Basically, you're going to have the leg that stays straight, the toe faces forward. The leg that's going to be doing the bending, it faces to the side. Okay, now most people when they do lunges, they usually tilt towards the knee and lean towards it. Okay, if you have bad knees, you don't want to add any more body weight on the knee, right? The other thing is with T-Tapp, I want the body total isolation of upper to lower. I do a lot of isolation. So we're going to go ahead. I want everybody just to get the kinetic awareness, just 3 inches of movement. Feel what's happening in your knees. Ready, begin. Bend 2, 3, and up 2, 3. Bend 2, 3, and up. Feel what's happening in your knee? Bend 2, 3. You're not going deep because you never want to go past the toe. That's called hyperextension. Okay? You only want to go to the end of the toe. So you're thinking, how are you going to tighten and tone and firm, Teresa, and you're moving 3 inches and you're not even like doing this, like what you usually see? And like who's going to do this if you're like inactive or not in the greatest of shape to protect your knee? There's no way. So what you feel, let's do it the T-Tapp way. First of all, and I'll give a side view, I want that knee to go towards little toe. Push it back. Yes, you can. Feel it right there and feel it on the inside. So push that knee, no big toe. Keep it there and then you're protecting your knee. Second, your upper body stays facing forward and that shoulder is in front of the hip like you're fencing. So upper body stays forward of the knee. So don't tilt towards the knee. Keep your upper body straight. Hand on the leg that's straight. Push it in your back, not your waist, down low. Leverage isometrics is part of T-Tapp. I use it all the time. It takes strength to do isometrics, so I use leverage isometrics. I want everybody to push their thumb in their back. Ready? Push 2, 3, 4, relax. Push 2, 3, 4, relax. Do you feel your muscles tighten all the way up the back? Push. That's leverage isometrics. Okay, now, with the other hand coming across, you grab your ribs. That's so it helps you to keep the shoulder in front of the hip. Okay, otherwise, you're trying to move over there. Now I want you to pull on the rib. Ready? Pull 2, 3, 4, release. Feel how it tightens the muscles on that side of the spine, right? So now I want you to push and pull at the same time with the upper body. Ready? Push and pull 2, 3, 4. Feel how every muscle up along your spine is equally activated? Leverage isometric. So while at the same time we're strengthening our knee, we're going to tighten and tone the back fat away. So keeping upper body. Now comes the fun part. Holding that there, push the knee back. Now what's most important? Tuck butt. Tuck butt, bad dog. Yeah, okay, now every muscle, now get the knee back again. So I'll give you a side view and we'll all do it together. It's just 3 little movements. Ready? Knee goes to little toe as you bend. Here we go. Tuck butt, push thumb, tuck butt, tighten thigh at the top. That's 1. Down, 2, 3, here we go. Push thumb, push, pull, tuck, tighten that thigh at the top. Once more. Down, aim at the little toe, push that knee back, push knee back, tuck, tighten at the top and relax. Whoo, bring the legs together. Did you feel everything? Let's do the other side so you don't walk like a gimp. Other side, so we have to stretch it equally, just 3. You step out straight from that instep. Your hand is right at the hip, below. Hand on the rib cage. Most important, knee goes back, tuck butt, re-push that knee back, square the shoulders. Ready, begin. Knee, aim, little toe, tuck, push thumb, push knee, pushing thumb, tighten thigh at the top. Down, 2, 3, tuck butt, push knee, push tuck, tighten at the top. Once more, 2, 3, tuck butt, come on, tuck butt, tight, tighten at the top and relax. Feel it all the way down? Did the knees hurt? Only the butt, gut, and inner thigh, right? Core. I have 2 basic workouts on T-Tapp so that you understand. The 15-minute workout works core without balance moves. 15 minutes alone, yes, you can lose a clothing size in a month. That's the average. It's by inches. I usually used to say you did the 45-minute workout, but then after doing ABC TV pretty much across the country, they kept challenging because nobody wanted to do 45 minutes if they could get away with just doing 15 minutes. And all of a sudden, and it's happened enough times that I have total confidence that if you do 15 minutes 4 days in a row and every other day the rest of the month, you're down a clothing size. But what you're doing is you're working core without balance, meaning I'm not making you go on one leg. When you do the 45-minute total workout, the second half of the workout is where you start working core. Now I'm going to teach you a core move, and I always do lunges before I do core move because we like to use our legs muscles, not the core on the inside. So I want you to feel what and how to work core so you can do it at home, even if you don't buy a video. I just want you to understand that yes, you can. You use your arm for balance. In T-Tapp, I never let you hold on to a chair. You can have it close by. Even my 80, 90-year-olds, we have the walker close by, and you bobble, but the only way you're going to build it is to bobble. So you push the arm out. Now when you push out and tighten, don't you feel your upper back tighten? That's to help stabilize the spine so you don't fall over when we lift the leg. Other hand is below that waist. You bend those knees, you tuck that butt, the shoulders back. Now keep both knees bent. The opposite leg of your arm is what you're going to lift, but keep the knee bent as you lift it. 1, 2, 3, lift and touch. Okay, we'll get the feel of it. Adjust around. Move out, move in to where you can feel. Keep the butt tucked. Keep the knees bent. Keep it pushed out. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Okay, I want you just to feel what's happening in the muscles. Ready, repeat. Lift, touch. Ready, repeat. Lift, touch. Now we're going to start thinking T-Tapp. I want you to do it 2 times in a row without touching. Bend knees, tuck butt. Yes, you can. Ready, begin. Lift and lift, touch. Okay, once more, and then we'll do all the T-Tapp techniques. Ready, repeat. Lift and lift, touch. Now the T-Tapp way. Bend and tug, shoulders back. Pull up the toe, twist it in, tuck the butt, lead with the heel. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Do you feel a difference already? Pull up the toe, pigeon toe the foot in. You lead with the heel instead of the toe. Try it again. Butt tucked. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Do you feel that core? Let's try 2 times. Hold that arm there. Do you feel the arm getting tired? You wonder how I get tight and toned without arm weights. Last time, 2 times without touching. Lead with the heel. Ready, begin. Lift and lift, touch. Relax. Can you see how by just pulling up the toe, torquing it in, and in the second half of the workout to give you a visual so you understand what's in there, is I have you lifting 8 times. Without stopping, lifting and out 8 times. Notice the foot stays forward. When you're a beginner, toe goes up. Why? Because the leg goes, use the thigh instead of the core. And yes, all ages, all fitness levels. I designed it for all body types and all fitness levels. Go ahead and have a seat while you get your heart rate. And I'm going to bring up a couple of people who are T-Tappers because in the video I go in great detail, but if you have a better understanding of where your body type is, you'll understand how to maximize exercise to target your areas of concern. Because I always go around and say, yes, you can spot reduce with T-Tapp, and everybody goes, no, you can't spot reduce. You hear that all the time in the magazines, no, you can't spot reduce. But with any person who's ever seen, or anyone who's had a boyfriend or a brother, this is the perfect example that, yes, you can spot reduce. Because I know most men can drop 2 to 3 inches off their belly instantaneously if that Coors Light commercial with the twins comes on and they walked by. Right? What if they just held it? Now, if that isn't showing girdle muscle, cinch in, tighten up. So in T-Tapp, that's what I do instantaneously, because you will take 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch off saddlebags instantly by just having what position. Usually I'll wear stripes along the side, because on my body type, that's the area of concern, and I'll get into the body types to explain. But just to show you, and I'll have it on camera so even those at home, and I'll do half side to half side. So since this is an area of concern, and most people stand and they have their legs straight, and see how it bulges right at the thigh? So I'll hold my hands there so you can focus. Watch how I'll lose a 1/2 inch on the outer thigh. Okay, I'll do it for this side. Because most people stand, they lock those knees back, okay, and so what happens is the hip joint rolls in. All you have to do, 1/2 an inch, is just put hips in alignment. So as you're standing, and I taught that to the model straight out, then that tightening and toning automatically burns the fat in that area, so you keep it away. So in T-Tapp, you will spot reduce and target your areas of concern. So I'm going to start off with Barry coming up, and they'll each have a mic so they can tell you a little bit what they did with T-Tapp. But in my workout, I feature on 3 body types so you'll understand. And it's not about apples and pears. We're a little bit more than fruit. Okay? It's about the length of your rib to your hip and your knee to your ankle. And Barry, who's 76 years young, is a classic short torso, long leg, whereas I'm a long torso, short leg. So Barry, go ahead and tell just a little bit what you did with T-Tapp, and then we'll talk about body type. Close. Close. Kiss it.
Okay. I first met Teresa at a seminar similar to this, and I sat in the front row, and I asked her questions. Then when she came to the part where she said the youngest is 9 years old and the oldest was 60, and here I was 73, and I didn't know whether I could do this or not. So then after the seminar, I went up to her and asked her if she thought I could do it, and she says, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a tape soon, and we're going to do an exercise program on Monday morning, 6 o'clock. If I wanted to participate, I could, so I did. She was quite surprised that I was able to keep up with the exercise. My form wasn't good, but I made it through the whole class. And when I first started with T-Tapp, I was on blood pressure medicine and cholesterol and osteoporosis medication. Now I'm off of all of those. And I've lost 52 inches. And I attribute that to alfalfa and skin brushing with the Skin Saver brush.
And your bone density too.
And also I have gained 20% bone density in my shoulders and 7% in my right hip. And when I first started, I kind of had that Dower's hump. Now I'm straight. And so, if I can do it 76.
Okay, stay right here so I can demonstrate. It is true, because when Barry came to me, she was a strong exerciser. You were doing Pilates a couple days a week, weight training a couple days a week, swimming several days a week. She used to go work out a lot, and I said, I would work out with you if you did nothing but T-Tapp for 90 days. She increased her bone density that much within 90 days of just doing T-Tapp, even dropping the weight training. But think what you learned tonight. Why did she increase 20% in one hip on the other? Which hip do you think she increased the 20%? All of a sudden, when I'm making balance to hold. And that spinal, she increased 7 to 10% density in the upper spine. Do you think the muscles got used a little bit in the upper spine? You build bone density when you tug on the bone, right? And they tell you that you need weights to tug. All you have to do, use your muscles to tug on the bone full fiber. And not only do you slow the loss, you actually stimulate the growth if you're getting the proper nutrients and calcium, magnesium in all of your vegetables and foods. So see, you help the body help itself with T-Tapp. It's not a miracle. Okay, body type. Barry's a short torso, I'm a long torso, and I have a short leg, and she has a long leg. Basically, when you're focusing on trying to trim your torso, flatten your tummy, working on your thighs, it helps if you understand the length of your bones. Barry, from her last rib to hip, and she'll just put her fingers there, you can see it's about 1.5 inches. If you go to the last rib to my hip ball joint, I'm about 8 inches, right? Now, doesn't it make sense that my waistline can be smaller because there's more room that can cinch in? Then if you're bone to bone, there's no way, unless you take a rib out, that you're going to cinch in as small as mine. So that's why, as think back as teenagers, a long torso would usually be those who have 23-inch, 24-inch waistlines. We're talking teenage years, okay? And the short torso, which a lot of models were, they always look like snakes that swallowed the rabbit, because they would be a 28-inch waistline. Okay, now if you're a male, that would mean when you're a youngster, that if you're a long torso, you would be in those 28, 29-inch jeans. And if you were a short torso, it was more of a 33, 34, because that's why you won't see German men modeling clothes in Milan, because they're usually a stockier rib cage, shorter spine. You see what I mean? As I understand all of this going around all of the world, so when I created the workout, I wanted it to work for all, so you activate the muscles, but you need to know with what you're starting with to have realistic goals. Because a lot of these models, let's see, Cindy Crawford, when she first started, when she was around me, was 31 inches. And at her thinnest, she was probably about 27. Now, that would mean if it was a long torso, that'd be like being 22. So you work with what you have, and that's where you understand the clothes. But then it gets into the leg. So the shorter torso is always going to be working on the tummy and having a little tummy pooch, because there's not as much room for the organs, so they get pushed down. So you got to keep those shoulders back. So now the other thing is the length of the knee to the ankle on Barry versus knee to the hip is equal. Now, I'm a little bit taller than Barry, and if we put our shoes right next to each other and we bend our knees, you can see our knees are equal, right? But look how much taller I am. It's in my spine. But if you look at my leg, why I call it a short leg, is that the knee to ankle versus the knee to the hip, that's a short leg. Short from the knee to ankle versus knee to hip. So then that means the short torso is going to get the inner thigh pudge, but never get the outer thigh. Whereas my body type will never really get the inner, and we maintain a flat tummy and a small waistline, but we get the saddlebag area. Which then on the back is the shorter the torso, and they're trying to make room for those tummy organs, they let their butts go out. So if the butt goes out, the gut goes forward. You know, think gymnasts. Aren't most gymnasts short-torsoed and they arch out with the back? Okay, so along with that, the shorter torso is going to have a flatter butt. This is men and women. Whereas the longer the torso, the more the bubble the butt. But unfortunately, bubble butts can drop. So with it is, if you inactivate is where you put fat, right? So if you inactivate, that's why the short torso gets the hip pad fat, whereas the long doesn't. So now do you see where Barry's going to be thrilled to death when she sees, based on her body type, then slim and trim, and so T-Tapp's going to work regardless, because you're activating all of the muscles on the joints to cinch in to your own frame. Okay, so that's the short torso. Now coming up next with the little one is Jennifer. Thank you, Barry. And Jennifer, who's coming up, is a combination body type. And she has a new baby boy, but I'll let her share her story.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is Connor.
Oops.
And he's 4 weeks old tomorrow. And I've been working for Teresa for 3 years, and I started doing the workout then when I started working for her. So I've been doing the T-Tapp workout for 3 years. And in the beginning, I lost the dress size doing the workout, and then continued doing the workout to maintain the inch loss that I had seen. I got pregnant back in April and did the workout during my pregnancy. During the whole pregnancy, I did not get gestational diabetes during the pregnancy, and I only gained 26 pounds during the pregnancy. And after having him, I just have 3 more pounds to go to get back to my pre-pregnancy weight, and I'm continuing to do the workout to, tighten the little flabbiness that I have from the expansion that I gained. But I'm doing the workout now just to tighten up and tone from what I had with having him.
And what really is exciting, because she said about gestational diabetes, and I'm going to teach the move that really makes a difference on that, is because T-Tapp is a focus on health, not just doing, but you think about it, how can you keep tucking butt as baby grows, right? Tuck, it's a little harder to tuck if things are growing inside. But so many of the times in trying to reshape up, because you have to remember, I had to get those models shaped up real quick to get back because they got paid if they were working and they had to get back in those swimsuits, is that you don't want to have atrophy. Haven't you seen when you put on a cast on a leg how quick the muscle atrophies? And then you have to rebuild the muscle because you lose the neurokinetic flow to the muscle because it's inactive. So even though baby grows on the inside, if you're tucking and you could feel how much that activates lower back and tummy, it's full fiber activation around the baby. It doesn't lose the neurokinetic flow. So once baby's gone, you don't have to rebuild atrophied muscle. You just tighten and tone the fiber with baby gone. See how it's all common sense? Maintaining that nerve transmission. Okay, I'll let you hold this as I describe a combination body. Combination bodies are basically the ones that we all talk about with Barbie dolls. 36, 26, 36. Everything's very balanced. The knee to ankle is balanced from the knee to hip. Her rib to hip is going to be 5 inches. So it's just enough to get more of a 26-inch waistline. Okay, we're talking teenagers. And so the thing is where a short torso will tend to be an inch bigger at the top, fuller bosomed, and be bigger on the top and lose quicker in the hips. And the long torso will end up gaining more in the hips, in the butt area, and be smaller in the chest. And we're generalizing here, but just to give you an idea. Whereas the combination tends to gain and be equal everywhere. So that means Jen here doesn't only focus on the inner thigh pudge, she gets outer thigh pudge, but it kind of slides back to more second butt cheek pudge rather than a saddleback. And then it's a little bit of the hip pad more so, but there's more of the things. So the waistline, you can get the little tummy a little quicker, but then the shoulders have to think about staying back because it is a little bit longer. And then that's where the fanny cheeks, the butt cheeks are slightly rounded. So it's like, that's why Levi's jeans would be more into the combo short torsos, but the Lee jeans would end up being for the long torso, short leg. And so Jen and Barry can wear those cute little capris, but you won't be seeing long torso, short legs with capris because we look like we chopped off our legs. We look better in it. And then Barry can wear mini skirts till she's 90, you know, because the legs are fantastic. You just have to keep that waistline. You see how you work with what you have, but with T-Tapp, I accounted it for all. And even through pregnancy, yes, you can. You T-Tapp right up to the last day. I saw it. Thank you so much. And thanks, Connor. Okay. Last of all, I'm going to bring up Diane because the combination body can be borderline short or borderline long. You know, nothing's too easy. You have to understand the length of the knee to the ankle versus knee to the hip is going to be the most important. That's why I brought Jennifer up first. She's a true balanced 5-inch. But what if you're not a 1/2 inch on the rib to hip, or what if you're 3 inches? And so anyway, I'll let Diane share her story real quick, and then I'll explain her body type, and then we'll get back to exercise now that your heart rate's come down.
Hi, I'm Diane Stone, and I'm from Rockville, Maryland, and I used to be the biggest skeptic when it came to T-Tapp. I thought it was too good to be true. It still sounds too good to me, but I know it's true. Because I used to read about T-Tapp when Teresa was the editor of a women's fitness magazine. I read about her for 2 years. I saw the before and afters. I saw the exercises with all the pictures and all the testimonials, and I thought, this can't be true. It's too different from anything else that's out there. But I was very out of shape. I had a background in fitness, but for years, the only exercise I got was walking from the refrigerator to the couch. And this is what I looked like in January of the year 2000. I was a size 30 women's. A lot of people don't understand that there's a whole range of sizes beyond Mrs. sizes. And this is the dress size that I used to wear. And I think if the picture's worth 1,000 words, this is worth 100,000 words, because it really kind of shocks me when I look at this and think that all of my clothes used to be this large. Anyway, I started exercising in January of 2000, and I still didn't believe in T-Tapp. So I went to the gym and I did the weights and cardio, treadmill, elliptical machine. And I kept reading about T-Tapp, and I found the T-Tapp website. And because I used to work in the computer world managing websites, I thought, you can't believe things just because they're on a website. Anyone can say anything and put it on a website. But I started reading the message boards. And I actually at first thought, well, maybe she's paying a couple of women to be in a back room typing away. But I realized, because they shared so many personal details of their story, that it really was working for a lot of people. So I roped my mom into it. We ordered the total system, and we did a 14-day boot camp. And even though I'd been exercising for 9 months, in that 14 days I lost 12.5 inches. And I was instantly a believer. And all I can say is T-Tapp can totally change your life if you have hope, and if you believe, and if you have a positive attitude, because it's worked for thousands of people out there, and it can work for you. And I would much rather T-Tapp and be able to eat than sit on the couch starving myself and not moving, because Ben and Jerry are still 2 of my best friends.
Thank you.
So it's just really important that you understand that T-Tapp really can work. All you have to do is give it a try and have hope and the belief that you can do it. Thanks.
Thanks, Diane. Isn't it amazing how much the body can change? So many people are looking at the flavor of the month surgery, bariatric surgery. Diane did it without really dieting. We do a God-made, man-made dietary guidelines, which comes with the total workout, which is just a common sense approach to eating. Basically, it's 2 days be good, 1 day cheat. 2 days eat God-made foods, 1 day eat man-made foods. You know, and so without taking a lot of time on it, it really is just common sense, and you never have the cravings. But what I wanted to show is that there are variations within the combo body, and Diane is a combination borderline long, and how you can tell that when you go home and you look at yourself in the mirror is notice that her knee to ankle is shorter than her knee to hip, but she's not as long from the rib to the hip. I'm much longer. So I'm a true long torso, short leg. She's a combination where she's going to gain a little bit everywhere, but that means when the knee to ankle is shorter from the knee to hip, then she's going to get a little bit more on the outside, as well as the second butt cheek, as well as the upper on that, because of the shorter knee to ankle. Adds to the saddleback. Okay, because then the knee rolls in. So that just gives you an idea of the variation, so then she knows what to focus. And it is true, we eat at T-Tapp. We don't diet. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get back into some movement. So, oh, what was that? I thought we'd be happy. But realizing that I created T-Tapp for all body types and for all ages and all fitness levels, one of the things, as I told you earlier, is bringing down those glucose levels very quick, whether it's that you're type 2 diabetic, gestational diabetes, or if you're trying to rebuild the heart or just trying to chill out the hormones. It's a move called Hoedowns. And now everybody goes, where did you get this name, Hoedowns? Well, see, I'm from the Midwest, and I have a hillbilly father, and you know what those square dances where you hee-haw, Hoedown? Okay, so that's where it came about, but then I discovered in New York City people never heard of Hoedowns or square dances. But the name stuck, and so this move was the one that was in Prevention magazine. And that's why I wanted to talk first, so all your heart rate, nobody's too hot, so you can realize how fast you can challenge and rebuild the heart and get aerobic without any jumping. So everybody up. This is the one you want to spread out. Basically, the only moves that you have to check on your neighbor is if you lift the knee in front of you, you don't hit the chair in front of you or the person's behind. And then your knee is going to be out to the side, that you lift to the side, and you don't kick the person next to you. Okay, that's basically all we're doing here. Okay, now this move is the one that works left-right brain. Okay, I had it in the flyer so you would understand. Because our body and inactivity, we become more dominant on one side. Remember, as we said, standing earlier? Well, that creates a dominant side with the brain cognitive processing. You know, you always write with the same hand, and you notice as you get older, the other hand gets worse and worse. In whether you're just opening jars, the other hand gets weaker and weaker. You create dominance in left-right brain. So when I created T-Tapp, it's not just a mind-body workout. That's why there's no music. You're listening to me saying tuck butt, because there's too much to think about. But it's not just a mind-body workout. T-Tapp is a left-right brain mind-body workout. I studied neurolinguistic patterning. It's very pertinent so that you also keep your brain very healthy and functioning, and it's amazing how fast you can get clarity of mind back. You know, like how certain medications can cause a foggy brain? This is the move that clears it out, and it's incredible. That's why Prevention Magazine wanted to feature it. Okay, so we already got some of the basics. The toes are forward. You bend your knees. You tuck the butt. The shoulders are back. The palms are up and out. Like those tricep curls? Okay, so once you're here, your hands are going to stay. Now keep your one knee bent. Let's all work it to where we're the same thing. So I'm going to be mirrored to you, but we'll say everybody keep right knee bent, and you're going to lift your left knee. Okay, 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Feels weird, but you have to keep the one knee bent. Don't let it straighten. See, because then that's working that side of the brain to keep it bent while the other side of the brain's making it move. See how it's left, right brain? Let's try it slow. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Good. Okay, now let's do that 4 times. Ready? Begin. Lift, touch, 2, touch. Keep that knee bent, butt is tucked. Good. You guys are fast. Safety harbor. Same leg goes out to the side. Keep the knee bent, and arm comes across. Good. So keep the butt tucked, keep the knee bent. Let's do first just 2 slow. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Ooh, feel different muscles, right? 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Let's do that 4 times. Keep that knee bent. Ready, begin. Lift, touch, 2, touch. Keep that butt tucked, knee is bent. Good. Now rest for a second. I see eyeballs opening already. We haven't even started. Here's how it works. 4 to the front, 4 to the side, repeat. Lift 2 times to the front, 2 times side, twice. Then it comes the singles, front and side, 2 and side. Let's practice the singles. That's when it really plays left, right brain. Knees bent, arms out, keep the butt tucked, shoulders back. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Then it goes to the side. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. Keep that knee bent, back to the front. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. You guys are good. To the side. 1, 2, 3, lift, touch. So now we'll go to speed. Hold it there. Keep the butt tucked. Keep the knee bent. Keep the shoulders back. Ready? Begin. Single lift, then side. And 2, keep that knee bent, butt is tucked. That is 3, 4, you did it. Do you see the left, right brain? Okay. Before you go, oh, no way. Yes, you can. I'll explain to why you feel like you're going every which way. Neurokinetically, you have the space of where you know where your hands are, and your one side of your brain's lifting the leg, the other side of the brain's keeping it bent. Everything's doing real good till you do this. And the reason why, till you rebuild the cognitive processing, is you just took the hand, which that side of the brain, and you moved it over on the same side. And then the brain goes, well, is it this side of the head to bring it? And it's called crossing the meridian, and it confuses the head till you rebuild the neurokinetic connection of knowing we're space because we're so visual. Isn't it funny how the brain, and so you really rebuild. So don't get all upset, it'll get there. And ironically, this is where I have a soft spot for the guys, because I've been in with enough professional athletes where they're going, because women, as they know from the studies, can do more multitasking, listening to the babies, the TV, the gossip over here, and so men are focused more. So it's kind of like a lot for the male brain to think of, but then yes, you can. It rebuilds, and then all of a sudden it helps athletes because then you have a greater neurokinetic connection all around in movement in space. Okay, now that the heart rate came down, it's 2 sets. So once we do 2 sets of 4, 2 sets of 2 in singles, it'll be rest 2, 3, 4, ready, other side. Rest 2, 3, 4, once more again on that side. Rest 2, 3, 4, last it's only 3 minutes, and watch what your heart rate's doing. Palms up, out, yes you can. Bend, tuck, shoulders back. Remember, we're going to lift with that left, keep the right knee bent. 1, 2, here we go for 4, begin. 1, 2, 3, keep that knee bent, side, out. 2, 3, again to the front, lift. 2, 3, 4 to the side, out. 2, 3, here comes 2 counts, up for 2, out for 2 again, up for 2, out. Here comes singles, up and out, 2 and out, 3, yes you can, once more, 4, out, then rest, 2, ready, other side, lift and up, 2, yes you can, that's 4 to the side, out, 2, 3, again for 4, lift, 2, 3, don't stop yet, out, 2, 3, now 2 counts, up for 2, and out for 2, again, up for 2, out, here comes singles, up and out, 2, yes you can, 3, once more, 4, don't stop, other side, 2, yes you can, last time, lift, 2, 3, feel that stomach, out, bottom knee bent, 3, again, up, 2, 3, you guys are doing great, out, 2, 3, now 2 counts, up for 2, try to talk and do it at the same time for 2, out, here comes singles, up and out, 2 and out, almost done, yes you can, now other side, rest, 1, 2, last time, here we go, it's lift, 2, bottom knee is bent, and side, 2, keep it bent, again, front, 2, 3, 4, to the side, out, 2, 3, here comes 2, counts, great, 2, out, my guys are doing great, it's up, 2, out, here comes singles, up and out, come on, up, what you doing back there, 3, and out, 4, out, and rest, give yourselves a hand. Feel the heart rate? Isn't it amazing? Go ahead and have a seat. Isn't it amazing that such a little bit of movement can raise the heart rate so quick and challenge the brain and challenge the muscles? Because wasn't it the second set when all of a sudden you felt the stomach each time? The first set made the large muscles tired. The second set went in on it. That little move, what we substantiated, and the public broadcasting station in Houston, Texas, did a half-hour documentary, and they followed around 3 people in their different workplaces, and one was a severe diabetic. Her name is Amy. It was incredible because the physicians followed her through the whole time. At 54, she used to have a resting glucose of 386. She was on the operating table as they were catheterizing. I mean, you have heart disease and going along with it. So here's this one woman who was at a seminar. She had won a place to this seminar from it was called Sunny 99 Radio. And she wore high heels. That's why we called everybody to wear flat shoes, because she did not take off those high heels, doing her Hoedowns, and was very beet red in the face. And I could tell by the puffiness that she was on some type of medication, because a lot of times edema, you'll see a puffiness. I know enough from working with different patients. At any rate, I didn't know her story. I got an email from her 10 days after that seminar, "You've saved my life." And so I opened up the email, and her email said that she had lost 10 inches in 10 days. She goes, "But that's not what I'm excited about." She said, "My glucose has dropped tremendously. The doctors are just amazed, and I don't have to have the additional medication that they were looking to do on the next level," because she was severely in a bad situation. Long story short, her physicians and everybody followed her along. In 8 months, she was no longer diabetic at all. And we're not just talking glucose, and they didn't believe it. They did blood tests. Now, I'm not saying that doing this workout or doing this exercise moves is going to reverse your type 2 diabetes. But what I'm saying is the body is an amazing machine. And when you move it, you help your body help itself. And because of the nature of T-Tapp, a full fiber activation, where you're involving the 3 factors of isometrics, linear alignment, at the same time of large muscle movement and lymphatic pumping. Every time you touch, you're lymphatically pumping. So you've got all of them in one, even though the hand never comes above the head. You're pumping the major lymph nodes, and you get incredible CO2 output. So you help the heart, and so many times diabetes and heart disease are hand in hand. But more important, you expense the glucose so quick, and what they showed, that the little move you guys just did, notice how your heart rate's already come down? And notice if some of you were starting to get a little sleepy from listening and sitting too long. Don't you notice the kind of like a clarity on the top of the head right now? That's why they started using it in the Southern California and San Diego with 3rd grade class. 2 in the afternoon, the kids would look at the clock and the teacher said, it's hoedown time. They stand up by their little desks, do their little hoedowns, sit down, and then do reading class. And their reading retention went up. But think about what we feed our kids a lot of times. Sugar snaps for breakfast, macaroni cheese, whatever, additional, lots of carbs or sugary snacks again at lunch. And that's why you get that sugar slump in the afternoon. That slump of fatigue is too much sugar in the blood. Amy's blood was sludge. The blood was so thick it couldn't get through the body. And so what they proved with this little move is that it burns 62 to 85 points of glucose in 3 minutes. That's faster than an insulin shot. So that's why they were using it with gestational diabetes, and it was used with Rebecca Chasm, who is a marathon runner. So we're talking, and who has 5 children, and believe it or not, she's just now delivering her 6th. I didn't know people still had that many children. How can you afford them these days? But at any rate, she's a marathon runner, and her first 4 babies were fine. Or excuse me, her first 3 babies were fine, and I had met her on a plane when I was speaking in Hawaii, and she was going there for a marathon like 10 years ago. And of course, when she had her videos, and then you lose touch, you know, when you travel a lot. And all of a sudden, I got a phone call where she said I had gestational diabetes really bad with my 4th baby, where I ended up being in the hospital the last 3 months, and it was so dangerously high and everything else. And before the baby was even 1 year old, I'm pregnant again. And so she's very scared, because once you're gestational diabetic, it's pretty much assured that you're going to have a gestational diabetes again. Well, I told her, well, are you T-tapping? She goes, no. She'd rather just run and not think about it, because with T-tap, you have to kind of think tuck, butt, knees out, shoulders back. And I said, dust them off, try to do it twice a week, but do Hoedowns, because she used to have to give insulin shots after each meal, and then go walk 2 miles. I mean, if you know anybody with gestational diabetes, you know what I'm talking. This is why Jennifer was sharing the story earlier. Anyway, long story short, I got an email, and their doctors, and they monitored, and she did not have to be hospital bound at all. She T-tapped right up at the end. She got a head cold in the 8th month, so she had to stop doing the exercise or whatever it was for 10 days, and then all of a sudden she had to do an insulin shot. Within 4 days of doing the Hoedowns, she no longer did any more insulin shots. They totally controlled gestational diabetes, doing Hoedowns after each meal and doing the T-tap twice a month. And it was interesting, because then when I flew out to California, you know how they say babies hear when you play music, and it's good, you know, talk to your baby and all that. It was unbelievable. Rachel, her little girl, at 3 weeks, as I walked in, and I haven't seen Rebecca, you know, in 2 years, it was all by phone. I walked in, as I talked, Rachel went. So I knew she did the videos, because she heard my voice. So it was really wild. And the baby, her baby was more lean, and T-tap babies, so far what we're hearing is they lift their heads sooner and faster, because the neurokinetic flow passes. And that's why Jennifer's little guy, Connor, he's lean. He's not skinny, he's lean. But main thing is that little move you just did, whether you're trying to balance and control glucose because of a type 2 diabetic situation, share it with a friend. It's on my website for free. My website at ttapp.com, you've got that in your informational packets, has over 1,500 pages of educational material, and Hoedowns I have, if you don't remember what to do, it's even on live video clip that you can download for free, as well as printed out a reprint of the Prevention magazine. And even the Russian magazine, can you believe it? St. Petersburg and Moscow, they wanted Hoedowns in their fitness health magazine. It's the little move that makes a big difference. That's why T-tap, with T-tap, less is more. And for the rest of us who don't have diabetic conditions, that just means you can have dessert, burn it off, and be on your way without turning to fat. I hope tonight you've learned all of the basic principles in review of T-tap, and that you can. Basically, it's comprehensive compound muscle movement done in a specific sequence, using your muscles layer by layer from the inside out, totally using linear alignment, neurokinetic flow, lymphatic function, as well as rebuilding digestion, assimilation, and elimination. It's a physical therapy approach to fitness. So form is very specific. That's why there's no music. You don't just learn the workout, you learn the how and why for every workout. So then once you've learned it, you move on to the section of the video or the DVD where there's no instruction. But what you have is the empowerment of that you can, because then eventually you can put it aside and know it by memory. It's done in 3 feet of square space, so you can do it in a hotel room while you travel. You can do it in a cruise ship. You can do it. There's no jumping involved, so nobody knows you're doing it. You can sneak it in at any time. Form is important, but you only go to your best. Nobody's going to do form just like me. I've been doing it for so long. You go to your own max, and the stronger you get, the more you get out of it. You never have to go more than the 8 minutes. Whether you're doing 15 minutes a day, or I have one that's where you're sitting down where it's 12 minutes, or you just pick out this 3-minute move and that 3-minute move to do throughout the day to target your own areas of the concern. All I want you to know and to remember is that, yes, you can. Take the techniques or what you've learned today, apply it in your daily activity. Moving the body is moving the machine, and all you have to do is move it a little, and yes, it can repair and rebuild. So tighten and tone on the outside, yes, but preventative wellness fitness is what creates the passion so that you can have a positive out of any negative situation like I've had through my life. So my passion is to help educate others, and I hope you join us as the team. That's great, and if not, I hope I at least added to the health of each of you as you think throughout the day. Thanks for coming tonight. Okay.